Okay, let's get into it. The buzz around the Green Bay Packers and their first-round pick, Matthew Golden. Wow, it's already pretty loud.
Yeah, it really is. And did you hear about Jordan Love texting him, like, right after the draft?
I did. It's time to go to work. I mean, that kind of immediate excitement, that's exactly what we're diving into today.
Mm-hmm.
And we're also going to look at the Philadelphia Eagles, what they're doing, reshaping their defense.
Right, a lot happening there, too.
Yeah, we've been digging through some recent NFL Live talks, trying to, really zero in on what these moves actually mean for the season ahead.
And the mission, really, is just to give you a clear picture, cut through some of the noise.
Exactly. What actually matters here?
So with Golden, it's actually pretty significant historically for the Packers taking him in the first round.
You mean because they haven't taken a receiver that early in ages?
Exactly. Not since way back in 2002.
Wow.
And get this, it's the first time since the merger, the common draft era,
Wow.
that they've drafted 2 wide receivers in the first 3 rounds.
Okay, so that really tells you something about their priorities this year. Big emphasis on the receivers.
No question.
And Golden himself, I mean, the speed is obvious, right? 4.2940, that's blazing.
It is. But it sounds like the Packers, they see more than just, a go-route guy.
I think he's versatile.
That's the word, versatility. Apparently, Matt LaFleur even FaceTimed Love after they picked him.
Oh, yeah.
And Love was joking about needing to loosen up his arm for those deep balls.
Uh-huh. Yeah, you can imagine. Sounds like the coaches are already scheming, thinking about how to use him.
Well, what's interesting is LaFleur said they don't have specific plays drawn up yet.
Okay.
But he had a clear vision, apparently, when they were scouting him, how he could fit. And he told the GM, Brian Gutekunst, about it.
So the idea was there during the evaluation.
Right. And LaFleur also mentioned he's, looking forward to rookie minicamp. He thinks they'll discover even more good stuff about Golden, things they didn't expect.
That makes sense. You see things on tape, but then you get them in the building.
Exactly. There's always that potential for, pleasant surprises.
So this has got to be just a massive boost for Jordan Love, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
He's got this young, dynamic group potentially. I was looking, is it 7 pass catchers now in the first 3 rounds over the last 4 drafts?
Yep, that's the number 7. It's a significant commitment, building that support system for their quarterback.
It really is.
And that leads to that's point, really. It's about consistency now.
For Love.
Yeah, we know the talent's there. He's shown flashes, big flashes, but, doing it week in, week out, that's the key.
Especially if they want to win the NFC North, maybe challenge for more.
That's what separates the good teams from the great ones, right? That consistent high-level performance. This young receiving core helps, but Love has to deliver.
And we heard some whispers, didn't we? That Golden was maybe seen as a top 12 pick by some teams?
Yeah, there was some talk about that the Packers might have gotten a bit of a steal where they picked him.
Makes sense. He definitely wasn't a secret. I mean, he had a top 30 visit with Green Bay.
Right. They clearly identified him as someone special, someone too good to pass up, I think was the phrase used.
Okay, makes sense. Now, shifting gears a bit,
Yeah.
But staying in Green Bay, the defense. What's the latest on Jure Alexander?
Yeah, the Alexander situation. He's got that big number, $17.5 million due this year.
And there have been some, let's say, durability concerns out there.
There have, which naturally led to some early talk about, maybe a trade.
Right. But it sounds like that's cooled off.
It seems that way, yeah. Momentum kind of stalled. Part of it might be teams wanting to wait until after the draft, see how their rosters shook out.
Okay. So what are the options now? Could they, rework his contract?
That's definitely a possibility. From the Packers side, getting some cap relief would probably be welcome.
But Alexander has to agree to that, obviously.
Exactly. We don't know his willingness on that front. And him being at the virtual stuff, but not the in-person voluntary workouts this week.
Adds another layer. Something to watch there.
For sure.
All right, let's pivot to the NFC East. The Philadelphia Eagles. Big ambitions there.
Huge ambitions. They're aiming to be just the 10th team ever to repeat as Super Bowl champs.
Wow, only the 10th. That's rarefied air.
It really is. And their draft strategy, well, it screamed defense.
Yeah, definitely saw that. They grabbed Giad Campbell, the linebacker, in round 1.
Mm-hmm. And then 5 other defensive players after that. A clear focus.
Campbell in the first round. That's kind of a big deal for Philly, isn't it? Don't they usually avoid linebackers early?
You're spot on. It breaks a really long pattern for them. They hadn't taken a true, like, off-ball linebacker in the first round since, get this,
Like,
1979. That's ancient history in NFL
it
terms.
really is. So it's a major shift. And the reports on Campbell are glowing athleticism, speed, attacks downhill.
Sounds like a modern linebacker.
Pretty much. And interestingly, some teams apparently had him rated as like a top 10 talent overall,
Really? So why did he fall a bit? The main concern seems to have been a shoulder injury. That might have caused him to slide just enough for the Eagles to grab him.
making him sort of a luxury pick almost,
Hmm.
getting top 10 talent later.
Yeah, some people are framing it that way. A potential high-value pick because of those injury flags.
And this fits into Howie Roseman's plan, right? Reloading the defense.
Exactly. The word is restocking the defense with young, cheap talent. We're hearing they now have, what, at least 7 defensive starters on rookie deals?
7 starters on rookie contracts. That's how you build sustainable depth.
It is. Especially on defense. It gives you flexibility elsewhere.
And you have to think the Vic Fangio hiring plays into this,
Yeah.
especially focusing on linebackers.
Oh, absolutely. There's almost certainly a connection there. It suggests they really trust Fangio's ability to, mold and develop young linebackers.
He's got the track record for it.
He definitely does.
Okay, but it's not all smooth sailing or clear rebuilding in Philly. There's the offense, too. Losing Kellen Moore,
Yeah.
that could be a challenge.
It could. Yeah, replacing the offensive coordinator. We've seen teams stumble sometimes when they lose key coordinators, especially if they lost both, like Philly did after their last Super Bowl run.
That's a good point. And it puts the spotlight on that relationship between the quarterback and the play caller.
Crucial relationship. And Jalen Hurts, well, he's actually had a bunch of different play callers going back to college, right?
Yeah, he has adapted before. Alabama, Oklahoma, now the NFL.
So he's shown he can adapt, but still, that chemistry, that synergy between QB and OC, it's just so important for week-to-week offensive rhythm.
No doubt. The Eagles are talented, obviously.
Yeah.
Both sides of the ball. They can probably handle it. But it's just definitely something you got to watch.
It is. That play calling change is a key variable heading into the season.
And just a little historical note, if Philly does get back to the Super Bowl, Hurts would be the first Eagles QB ever to start 3 of them.
Wow. Okay, that's a pretty cool potential milestone right there.
Yeah, adds another layer.
So let's try and wrap this up. Key takeaways. Green Bay makes a big splash with Matthew Golden, adding serious speed to help Jordan Love.
Right, while that Jerry Alexander contract situation still kind of hanging out
Still
there.
developing. And then in Philly, you've got this major defensive rebuild happening through the draft, Campbell being the centerpiece there.
But also that question mark around the new offensive coordinator and how Hurts meshes with the new system.
Exactly. Lots of moving parts for both teams.
So here's something for you, the listener, to chew on, looking ahead. Which of these big storylines do you think ultimately has the bigger impact on the NFC next season?
Good question.
Is it going to be the Packers offense kind of evolving with Love and this new weapon Golden? Or is it the Eagles' defensive transformation under Fangio as they push for another Super Bowl?
Yeah, think about the ripple effects, the long-term implications of these moves. Which one really shifts the balance of power?
Something to keep in mind as we head towards this season.